How does the UN deal with wars between countries? When there is a war between countries, the primary duty of the United Nations, UN, is. What is the United Nations? The United Nations, UN, is the largest intergovernmental organization in the world. Established on October 24, 1945, after World War II. The main objectives of this organization are 1. Maintaining international peace and security. 2. Developing friendly relations among nations. 3. Achieving international cooperation. 4. Serving as a center for harmonizing the actions of nations. The United Nations has 193 member states, and its headquarters are located in New York City, USA. Additionally, there are many other offices and agencies worldwide that work in various fields, such as UNICEF for children, WHO Health, UNDP Development, and FAO Food and Agriculture, among others. 1. Maintaining international peace and security. Resolving disputes and preventing war between nations. This is the most crucial core mission of the United Nations, UN. To achieve this goal, the UN employs various mechanisms and methods, such as 1. Conflict prevention. Preventive diplomacy. The UN strives to resolve issues before they escalate into armed conflict. This can involve sending special envoys to mediate negotiations, fostering dialogue, and seeking peaceful solutions. Information gathering and analysis. The UN monitors political and security situations worldwide, to identify risks of conflict and take timely action. 2. Conflict resolution. Mediation and negotiation. The UN provides a platform for parties in conflict to meet, negotiate, and seek peaceful solutions. The UN Secretary-General and his envoys act as impartial mediators. Peacekeeping operations. This is one of the most well-known UN mechanisms. When armed conflict occurs, or after a peace agreement is signed, the UN can deploy blue helmets, peacekeepers, to conflict zones. Role of blue helmets. They are not combat forces, but impartial forces with the following roles. Monitoring ceasefires, ensuring that conflicting parties adhere to agreements. Protecting civilians, providing protection to populations affected by conflict. Separating armed forces, helping to separate the armed forces of various parties, to reduce tension. Assisting in disarmament, facilitating the disarmament process, and reintegrating combatants. Supporting political processes, helping to organize elections, restore the rule of law, and build government institutions. Sanctions. The UN Security Council has the authority to impose sanctions on any country or entity that threatens international peace and security. These sanctions can include arms embargoes, trade restrictions, or financial limitations to put pressure on the parties involved to change their behavior. Authorization of military action, in severe cases, when international peace and security are gravely threatened. The Security Council can authorize the use of military force to maintain or restore peace. This is a last resort and is rarely used. 3. Post-conflict peacebuilding. After a conflict ends, the UN also plays a vital role in helping war-affected countries recover and build lasting peace. This includes restoring infrastructure, helping to rebuild damaged roads, bridges, and buildings. Supporting economic growth, helping to create job opportunities and boost the economy. Promoting human rights, ensuring that all citizens enjoy their rights. Building government institutions, helping to strengthen government institutions, courts, and police to ensure the rule of law. In summary, maintaining international peace and security is a complex task that requires the UN to use diverse methods. From diplomacy to deploying peacekeeping forces, to help prevent and resolve conflicts, as well as build lasting peace for the entire world. 2. Developing friendly relations among nations. This point is another crucial pillar of the United Nations, UN. Acting as a catalyst in building and strengthening friendly ties between nations around the world. The objective is to promote cooperation and mutual understanding to reduce tensions and foster a peaceful environment. How does the UN achieve this goal? The UN employs various diverse methods to promote friendly relations, including 1. Multilateral diplomacy. Platforms for dialogue. The UN provides a wide-ranging platform, such as the UN General Assembly, where heads of state, foreign ministers, and diplomats from different countries can meet, exchange views, and discuss global issues. This helps them get to know each other, reduce misunderstandings, and find common ground. Negotiations and agreements. The UN facilitates negotiations to create international agreements and treaties on various issues such as climate change, trade, human rights, and arms control. Working together on these issues helps strengthen trust and cooperation. 2. Development cooperation. Technical and financial assistance. UN agencies like UNDP, UN Development Program, and the World Bank provide assistance to developing countries to improve health, education, infrastructure, and the economy. By helping these countries grow, the UN builds positive relationships and demonstrates a willingness to cooperate. Addressing global issues, poverty, epidemics, and environmental problems know no borders. The UN brings nations together to work collaboratively on these issues, which requires cross-border cooperation and mutual understanding. 3. Cultural and educational promotion. UNESCO, this UN agency, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, promotes understanding and respect for diverse cultures. Through the preservation of world heritage, promotion of education, and cultural exchange, UNESCO helps people from different countries understand each other better. Exchange programs. The UN supports exchange programs for youth, professionals, and diplomats, allowing them to live and work in different countries. Such direct experiences help dispel negative perceptions and build personal friendships. 4. Human rights promotion. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The UN has established common principles for human rights, recognized by many countries. Promoting and protecting human rights worldwide helps create a foundation of shared values that foster respect and understanding among nations. Addressing human rights issues. When human rights violations occur, the UN intervenes through investigations, pressure, and assistance to protect victims and promote respect for international law. Importance of friendly relations. Developing friendly relations among nations is the cornerstone of international peace and security. When countries have good relationships, they are more likely to resolve disputes peacefully instead of resorting to military force. It helps build trust, promote economic and cultural cooperation, and contribute to sustainable development for all people. In summary, the UN not only resolves conflicts but also builds bridges between nations through diplomacy, development, and the promotion of shared values, leading to mutual understanding and lasting peace. 3. Achieving international cooperation. This point is at the heart of the United Nations, UN's work. It reflects the belief that major global issues cannot be resolved by a single country alone but require collective cooperation from all nations. The UN acts as a platform for countries to come together, discuss, and find common solutions to challenges affecting all humanity. How does the UN achieve this international cooperation? The UN facilitates cooperation on many critical global issues through its specialized agencies and programs. 1. Poverty and socio-economic development. Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. The UN has set 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which serve as a roadmap for the world to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people live in peace and prosperity. The UN helps coordinate the efforts of nations to achieve these goals by providing technical and financial assistance and sharing experiences. Relevant agencies. UNDP, UN Development Programme works with governments to develop policies that reduce poverty, improve education, health, and economic opportunities. World Bank and IMF, International Monetary Fund. These institutions, which work closely with the UN, provide loans and financial aid to support development projects in various countries. 2. Environmental issues and climate change. International agreements. The UN facilitates many significant environmental agreements, such as the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, which sets targets for reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Relevant agencies. UNEP, UN Environment Programme works to promote the protection of the natural environment, biodiversity conservation, and sustainable management of natural resources. IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change provides comprehensive scientific reports on climate change to help governments make evidence-based decisions. 3. Public health. World Health Organization, WHO, the leading UN agency focused on public health. WHO coordinates global responses to epidemics, like COVID-19, provides scientific advice, health standards, and helps countries strengthen their healthcare systems. Vaccination programs. The UN, through UNICEF and WHO, plays a crucial role in distributing vaccines to children and populations worldwide to combat infectious diseases. 4. Human rights. Protection and promotion of human rights. The UN, through the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, OHCHR, works to protect the human rights of all people, regardless of race, gender, religion, or nationality. This includes monitoring human rights violations, providing technical assistance to strengthen the rule of law, and educating the public about the importance of human rights. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. This document, adopted by the UN, is the foundation for international human rights law and continues to be a standard for all countries. Importance of international cooperation. International cooperation is key to addressing these challenges because global problems require global solutions. For example, environmental pollution knows no borders, epidemics can spread rapidly, and poverty in one country can affect neighboring countries. Working together allows for the sharing of resources, knowledge, and experience. Shared resources. Individual countries may not have sufficient resources or expertise to tackle major problems on their own. The UN helps pool resources and expertise from many countries to create a greater impact. Establishing common principles and standards. The UN helps create international frameworks and standards that countries can follow to address issues effectively and consistently. In summary, the UN is a major driving force for achieving international cooperation. providing platforms and mechanisms for nations to work together to address the world's most complex challenges. 4. A center for harmonizing the actions of nations. This final point is the fundamental concept that underpins all the missions of the United Nations, UN. It emphasizes that the UN not only addresses practical issues but also serves as a place for nations to unite and make collective decisions as a global community. The UN believes that even though each country has its own interests, there are many issues that require collective will and solidarity for the common good of humanity. How does the UN provide platforms to promote harmony? The UN fulfills its role as a center for harmony through the following key mechanisms. 1. United Nations General Assembly. This is the most important UN body, with all 193 member states participating. Each country has one vote. Discussion Forum. The General Assembly provides an opportunity for world leaders to meet annually to discuss the most pressing issues facing the world, from climate change to conflicts and development. Adoption of resolutions. Although General Assembly resolutions are not legally binding like those of the Security Council, they carry significant political weight and reflect the collective will of the international community. Joint voting on these resolutions demonstrates solidarity on common principles or directions. 2. United Nations Security Council. This is the only UN body with the power to make decisions that are legally binding for all member states. Collective crisis resolution. When a security crisis arises, the Security Council member states, 5 permanent members and 10 non-permanent members, must work together to find solutions. Their decisions, such as imposing sanctions, authorizing peacekeeping missions, or using force, require cooperation and consensus to maintain international peace and security. 3. Economic and Social Council, ECOSOC. This is a platform for coordinating the economic, social, and environmental work of the UN, as well as its specialized agencies and various programs. Policy discussions. ECOSOC brings together representatives of governments, civil society, and the private sector to discuss and formulate common policies on development issues. This participation demonstrates solidarity in addressing complex global challenges. 4. International Court of Justice, ICJ. This is the principal judicial organ of the UN that settles legal disputes between states. Respect for international law. The fact that nations agree to resolve their disputes through this court is a demonstration of respect for international law and the pursuit of peaceful solutions, rather than the use of force. This strengthens solidarity in upholding the international legal system. 5. International conferences and summits. The UN regularly organizes conferences and summits on specific topics, e.g., climate summits, development summits. Collective commitment. These events allow leaders and experts from around the world to meet, make collective commitments, and set action plans to address global challenges. Examples include collective commitments to combat epidemics or achieve development goals. Importance of harmony. Reducing tension. When nations talk to each other and understand each other's perspectives, it helps reduce misunderstandings and tensions that can lead to conflict. Creating effective solutions. Global problems require global solutions. Working together with a spirit of solidarity makes decisions more impactful and effective than acting in isolation. Strengthening international law. The participation of nations in adopting and implementing international laws and norms is a demonstration of collective commitment to a peaceful world order. Recognizing interdependence. the UN helps nations realize that they are interdependent in addressing common challenges. No country can live in isolation and solve all problems on its own. In summary, the UN is a place where nations can set aside their national interests for a moment and work together to find solutions that benefit all humanity. It is a center for dialogue, cooperation, and collective commitment, which are the foundations of lasting peace and prosperity in the world.